the last thing, and this is something that I never had to teach my student in the past, but then it looks like the author of the textbook really wants you guys to know, so it's worth to give it a quick glance right here. We introduce a new term here, the mid-range. The mid-range is just simply the lowest value, right? The lowest data value. And you add with the highest data value, okay? And all of that here, you divide by 2, okay? That's how you get the mid-range. So, and once again, you can see that for data set 2, right? And my lowest here is going to be, my lowest is a 42, no, is a 1, right? And my highest here is a 26, am I right? And we divide all that by 2 here. So my mid-range here, that is my mid-range, right? So my mid-range here is equal to a 27 divided by 2, which is going to be 13.5. Okay, that is my mid-range, right? And that is all with mid-range. And so you can see how, how easy to understand these concepts are, right? So the last thing with these statistics, with these math for statistics that you need to learn about is to find what's so-called standard deviations. So I'm going to change to a different note page right here. Right? So you're going to learn how to do standard deviation. Okay? It's a new term, standard deviation. And there is also a notation for that. We use the notation. We use the S, the letter S, which stands for standard deviation. Okay. So, how do we compute standard deviation? Standard deviation for a data set is just basically. I'm not going to tell you the definition in words, but then here, this is how we do it. Okay. For data sets, once again, for data set number 2, okay, this is what we do right here. What I would do, I need to first of all, always need the mean x bar, right, before finding standard deviations. Okay, is that clear? Are you all with me now? Alright, so now, good. So now, the first thing, so in my data set number 2, right? So once again, for my data set number 2, mean value here that I have found earlier to be 7.89. Everybody with me here? Alright, so now, the way to find the standard deviation, this is what I do. I'm going to go through each item. So I'm going to go through each item. What I would do to that is, let's say the first item, right? The first data item, which is 1, I'm going to subtract the mean value. So I go through each data value, right? I go through each data value and then subtract the mean from it, right? And square. Okay? So now the next one that I have here is a 2, right? So 2 subtract 7.89 and square. Okay? But then how many 2's are there? How many 2's are there? There are 3 number 2's, right? There are 3 2. So what I would do is I multiply that square here 3 times. And then I'm going to add that to what I've got earlier. Okay? And then so once again I'm keep doing the same thing. I'm moving on to my next data value here, which is the 3. Okay, 3 take away 70.89, which is the mean value, right? I'm going to square that. And how many 3 are there? How many 3's are there? There are 5 of them. So I'm going to multiply that by 5. Okay? And I am going to add to the next item here. There is a 5 now, so it's 5 minus 7.89, right? And I'm going to square, and I'm going to add to that, and then I'm going to add to my next item here is a 6, right? Minus 7.89. And yes, at this point you're starting to notice how tedious this work can be. Yes, it's going to be really long. But you know, that's just the nature with statistics, right? And that's what you're paid for in the future if you want to become a statistician, right? So I'm going to continue my work here. Add, what do we have next? We got 7 minus 7.89, right? Square, and there are 2 of them, right? And I'm going to add with 10 minus 7.89. Okay, I'm going to add with 11 minus 7.89. I'm going to add with, boy, this is getting long, you see? 19 minus 7.89 all squared. I'm going to add again with 24 minus 7.89, right? All squared. I'm going to add with 26, right? Minus 7.89 all squared. And now, what's happening now? Did I run out of odd-daters? Yes. As soon as I run out of odd-daters, what am I going to do? All of that's here, all of that here. After I add it, I'm going to divide it all by, this is a surprise, right? It is a surprise. 18. Where did the 18 come from? Where did the 18 come from? The total number of data points, which is 19, right? Take away 1. That's the rule. You don't have to ask me why it's 18. You don't have to ask me why it's 1 less than the total number of data, okay? It can take, it can take you the whole course, a whole semester to explain why it's 1 less than the number of data, but then here all you have to do is just take that. It's always 1 less than the total number of data. So, I mean, if you're working with data set number 1, for example, then how many data items are there? 80 of them, right? I mean 40 of them, right? So you would have to divide by 39 here instead of 18. Okay? So that's how we would do it. And then that's not it. I mean, after you divide by 18, that's not enough. The overall answer after your division, you have to take a long, huge square root. You have to take a square root. Okay? You have to take a square root. And that square root right here gives you the standard deviation. So now your standard deviation, S here, equals to, and once again, please, I mean, you have to review these video tapes right here to see if you accidentally missed out anything, okay? So my standard deviation that I have found here is to be hold on, let me graph for myself a I'm gonna give me 1 second here to compute the standard deviation myself, because my calculator here, I don't have a calculator with me, so. Alright, so now what I have is so I'm missing out 1 item. 7. Well, maybe to show you what's going on right here, I'm just adding that into my Microsoft Excel. Okay, I'm just adding that into my Microsoft Excel. Okay. And then I'm gonna quickly find my standard deviation. I mean, you don't have to learn how to do this on Excel. You can just exactly follow. I mean, the Microsoft Excel here is using the exact same formula there, but then so. That function right there would stand for standard deviations. Right? Go all the way from So 7.58 is my standard deviation. Okay. So I mean, Microsoft Excel got it done quickly, but then the point is, if you just keep following with this formula right here, and after all the long work, yes, you will also you will end up with 7.50. I mean, rounding it up, it's going to be 7.59. Okay. But then, once again, as I warned you earlier, your work, your statistic work, is not hard, but it's easy to make mistakes. So, I mean, it's a good idea that you can always work in group, right? But then, once again, it's easy to make mistakes. So, double check your work. If you don't have a group to work with, check your work. Okay, keep checking your work. Keep double checking your work to make sure that you don't have any errors and to make sure that you're free of errors. Okay. So, and this is all we need to discuss about some statistic techniques, some basic statistic techniques for to learn statistics. All right. So I guess this concludes our lessons on basic statistics here, and then in another lessons, video lesson later on, you're gonna learn how to do some other stuff with statistics. But then this is all for the contents of 12.1, 12.2, and 12.3 together. All right. So once again, feel free to contact me at my email or my phone number, my office number, or come to my door. Come and knock on my door at any time if you still have questions. All right. And good luck studying. All right.